Hi, guys. Welcome to Healing Space with Gently Healing. I'm Jen Tilley, and I am super excited to be with all of you guys today. I want to say hello to those that are in here so far. Hi, Zach. Hi, Lucinda. Hi, Jacob and Sammy. So nice to see all of you guys. I love you very, very, very much, and it is so rad again to spend another day with you. I'm very excited about this show. Howdy, howdy, Jacob. I love you very much. So grateful. And just love this meditation. Well done. And thank you to the gorgeous Robert Halley. Yes, I want to say that meditation that we were just listening to at the start of this was put together and comprised by Robert Halley. And higher frequency is what his name in here he goes by. And it was such a rad surprise to have someone take the meditations that we do on this show and the flute that I get to play for you guys. And just have all of that compiled in such a powerful way. And so I want to say thank you and to show my gratitude. And Sammy, I totally agree. It is an awesome and very, very powerful meditation, and even more powerful with the love that is put behind creation, and to see how that expands and just grows. Man, I'm just like overwhelmed with just gratitude when I just like experience that. It's just the first time in my life really that I've had that, and I just really, really thank you. Yeah, right there. High beings of awesomeness. High beings of awesomeness. Right back to you, Robert. Thank you. This is so great. Yeah, what a fun day. I hope all of you guys have had a wonderful day. I have a lot that's been on my mind as well since I've been with you yesterday. I love how he has blended the two of you together. It's awesome. I totally agree. It's almost like really the balancing of the like divine masculine and feminine. So like when he's coming in with the harmonic tonings, it just is giving this like beautiful balance of the masculine and feminine power of our voices. It's just so rad. Like I've listened to it many times now, and it just doesn't get old. It really, I feel like it just grows in its expansion. Like every time I'm discovering something new in the layers that have been added to it. It's just awesome. So, yeah, Robert, thank you. Right back at you. Seriously, serious. Oh man, I've had so many thoughts that have been going through my mind when it comes to talking about the work on healing yourself. And, you know, there's these powerful meditations, and these are huge activations, guys. And it's important to talk about both the sides of the light and the dark. And I think oftentimes out there you get a lot of the, talk about all the positivity and keep going to the positive light side. But there is this balancing that comes with doing the shadow work. And it's so important to be able to learn how to love yourself in all forms. And so, I guess my biggest thing is that I don't want my messages to ever feel sugar coated. I want them to feel raw and authentic, because my whole experience of my life today is showing how to show up as your authentic self, and doing this every day. You guys, you've had opportunities. There was one time I came on and you could sense that there was aggravation, and how, that process of working through that and transcending those moments. It's just about that authenticity, about squashing the lies that are inside of us and outside of us, and expressions into our reality, and be able to have the ability to change that. It's always been there. It's just about igniting it. The other thoughts that I had that I want to touch on today is the masks that we wear, and what it is to kind of take those masks off and be able to show up as our true authentic selves. And so, when you're doing these meditations, it brings about and evokes these aspects. It kind of vibrates that aspect out of us. It's like every cell. This is okay, I love that we talk about frequency, and this is why especially I started this video. So thank you, Robert, for bringing in frequency along with the frequencies that are added in layers here. But we talk so much like about our senses, and our hearing is a sense, in a sense that we're trained, like that we train. But we so often just think about our hearing being just in our ears, and this is not accurate at all. It goes far, far beyond that, to the molecular level, to every cell in our body we are actually listening and hearing with. If you think about every like molecular cell actually is comprised of, I can't remember if it's 80 or 90% water. Frequency is completely communicated in the water. Like if you play like a singing bowl, for example, you can see that the geometry that is formed in the water, like it literally shows that every cell in our body is doing that. So everything we're listening to, every sound that is around us, our bodies are reacting to that more than just our ears. And so I think it's so, like, again, sound is so much more powerful than the light or the dark that we're talking about. We're talking about a different level of transcension and taking the power back that just is in literally every molecular cell. But when we go about this process, there is, well, if we take every cell, they have their own communities, like all over our bodies, where they have communities where they talk, they fight, they defecate, they fornicate, they do all the things that we do, a gazillion little yous running around in your body. So again, this is things that are trained. It's working for us. That's what keeps us in our forms. And so when you begin to do or are going through the process of doing this shadow work, remember that there's so many of those cells that are just acting off of habituation, as you are as well. And so it's stopping that process, stopping the cycle, and meeting yourself where you are, and training yourself, programming yourself to be able to be that highest version of yourself, or the voided space of self, the divine light beings that we are, the more than that. And so as we start to dissect ourselves, this is the uncovering process. And so I was thinking, when we talk about when I say how much power do our pasts have? Well, they have as much power as we give them. But at the same time, there is a lot of us that is just acting off of habituation, and bringing awareness as a discipline throughout our day is very important and very crucial. Our thoughts, again, are still very powerful. That's what leads us into the actualization. When we create that thought, it literally has its own agenda that it must play out into our external reality unless we stop it. So minding our thoughts is very important. This is why, I've brought up many times about us being the governor, and also understanding that we're the observer. It's like when we talk about out there in psychology, they say things like diagnoses with schizophrenia or bipolar. We all have these different aspects, and there's these different parts of our minds that are in there and that are operating. And so taking any kinds of diagnoses or any concepts out of there is it's important. We're always showing ourselves something, and so the training processes of our cellular structure and breaking the habituations and bringing awareness starts with, simply like showing up to this show every day, seeing what, other people are doing. It's important. Like when we are sharing our lives in this news feed, ask yourself, am I showing up as my true authentic self? If you've had a shitty day and you're battling that shadow, please share it here. We're all here going through this together. We are on a path of healing. And so things that I was thinking about that, I talk about is part of my journey where I talked the other day about like a DMT trip that I had, and I came back and I realized that I was afraid of everything. Well, it's not just like, now I know I'm afraid of everything. It's what do you do with that information? What happens from here? Why am I afraid of beauty and all of these wonderful things that I shouldn't even like be experiencing? So when you start to face yourself and to look at the fear aspects of our life, or the worry that we're bringing in, is again, like I was talking about yesterday, is you feel and see the emotion. I'm feeling the fear right now. Now your next step, the next thinking, is the logical mind. This is that process where you're like, what am I afraid of here? I'm going to honor myself in this moment, but I'm going to bring in that logical thinking. Is there something to be afraid of here? And when you begin or continue to do this work on yourself, what happens is you begin to build confidence that you are able to build and have a toolbox of filled with everything you need to be able to get through anything. So if you look back on your past and you're like, man, well, I survived that. That is pretty incredible. Well, being able to understand that you're a badass is important. And so when I look back on my journey and I look back on the points where I wasn't so grateful or calling bullshit on a lot of aspects, coming into the fear and facing it, it was, it started really even before that DMT trip, was questioning if I was to define success, like so many of us were raised to say success is going to college and having a family and doing all of, like, it's all orchestrated and constructed. Somebody was telling us this is what will bring us happiness. And I am telling you that when I went after, the married life and the kids, and I was a step parent for a while, and I had the whole like white picket fence life with financial security and all that aspect, and in that space I was dying, guys. I was dying. I keep my photos up on Facebook to say, go back, look, you'll see my eyes. I couldn't even really open them. It's just like I was so afraid to look, and it was massive self-avoidance for a long time, and a massive externalization of being that caretaker, so that the world was telling me I was a great person, and it wasn't me. But it is solely our jobs in order for us to transcend, if you will, or become the highest versions of ourselves. It is not about the judgment of others, whether it's positive or negative judgment. It's about how you are viewing and seeing yourself. And you all have the power to get through any of this. And honestly, when it comes to death, none of us are getting out of here alive with these vessels. But we don't really go anywhere as you venture on and start to go through these meditative spaces, learn how to transcend. And we have my little fly that's coming back. I honor you. Thank you. It's coming. Yesterday when I brought the attention to it, it kind of went away, but I guess he just wants to hang out there. So here we go. So in the transcending of self and loving self is very crucial. You will not be able to experience it. None of the compliments will be enough. The control that you'll have to put out there to get other people to give you these things is just not based off of sustainability. So I had the come to Jesus with myself, where it was like, what does it mean to be successful? What is my own personal definition? Because I've gone out there and I had what seemingly most people would look at as a very decent marriage, though there was other things that came into play with that. But it did not bring me the happiness like people said. I then went on to continue my own success, where I had this nice, successful business. I had this great home. I had that was way too much home for me and my size, and it was designed perfectly for what my mother is as an interior designer, and being successful for my father, and all these other external things besides myself. And so when I looked at that, where it's like, why was it that when I had all of these worldly things, did I feel like I was going to lose it all at any moment? And it was, if I was to ever overcome or heal this anxiety, I had to face myself. I had to break patterns, break habituations, question everything it was that I believed, break the fairy tales. When I was in the jungles doing ayahuasca, this is and other medicines and working there, I would say that was a direct message, was that I needed to kill my fairy tale, and also really let go of my past, to put the box down. Like, I was carrying this box that was beautiful and decorated amazingly, and it had everything that I loved inside of it and all the great things. And it was bogging me down. Like, I couldn't go everywhere I needed to go carrying this box, and it needed to be set down. And so when I came home, it was like, how do you do that? What does that mean? And at first, I, like, with the fairy tale concept, I was like, oh yeah, I'd already done the marriage thing. Get that's not true. And the fantasy and Disney, Disney like pumping in the prince is going to come and rescue you. And I was like, oh, easy, that's gone. But it wasn't. It was what my illusions, my fairy tales, my reality on falsities, where it was like, why was I showing up to work every day and doing this aspect of it that I didn't fully believe, if you will? That why was I walking into certain places and wearing these masks and showing up as I thought you wanted me to show up? That I needed to put this stuff down, and I needed to look very deeply at myself and uncover this. And it wasn't pretty, and it wasn't easy, and I had to call bullshit on so many things that I was doing, right down to when I ended up having all of those seizures. I was having between 1 to 7 seizures a day for 3.5 months straight. And I don't, like, a big thing that I want to say is, I am not a victim of that. This was of my own orchestration. My fears were based off of false realities. My insecurities and depressions and things that were coming at me were of my own creations, and that no one would be able to stop that but me. And that I knew very much in my past, there was different medicines that I had tried, like Western medicines, and guys, this just didn't work. It was bandages that weren't even really covering the wounds. And so I knew very much that there was no medications that could help me, and no matter how many people were in my life trying to love me out of it, they couldn't do it until I had learned that for myself. And there was times where I was covered in jealousy and grossness, and like, these are where the addictions are, these chemicals and cortisols that we release within our bodies, that we must break those addictions and be the chemists of our bodies, and mind what is going on with those thoughts. If you're telling yourself negative thoughts 100 million times a day, but only doing self-affirmations once a day, where is the balance? It's just not there. And as I'm saying, it is a process of training your cellular structure. The universe is here. Everything is compiling for you to do this job, to learn how to love yourself. The animals and critters around are coming. Your dreams are coming to help give you the answers on how to do this. So that's why, like, a space like this page itself, this show is about teaching you what I did. And the things that I found. And as I said yesterday, I mean, don't believe me. Go find it for yourself. This is that journey, so that you know what your truth is. So that when you have somebody come into your space and let's say they're judging you or don't agree with what you're saying, you stand in your truth. I look back on this where it was like, okay, this seizure time of depression and all that was happening was ugly and disgusting. But at the same time, I look at it as I was the biggest badass in the world. To, like, pull yourself out of that space when you end up having other life events come after you've pulled yourself out. You know that you can do it, that's just not an option. Buying into that negativity and that negative thought process and those looping patterns will only get you this other way. So when you're thinking about that future self, that future of what you want to create becomes so much stronger, and you have the validation of that shit that you were doing back there, just that didn't work. But it is being able to stand in your power and find that voice again, find your truth. And again, like, some of my truths, I always question, and I'll look back and I'll go, I'm not attached to any belief structure, if you will. and it's an evolutionary process. But I would definitely say, and even with some people that I've worked with, because I was having non-epileptic seizures, but I've had an opportunity to be around people that have had the epileptic seizures, and it's like you're a magnet, like when you've kind of discovered something. So I had people that had seizures end up coming into my life after my seizures. So I had a very more keen eye, if you will, that I could look at it. And I could tell you that if they were not managing their stress, not doing, like, breath work was huge when it comes to seizures, and huge for us to really actually be seeing our realities, that often when we are in fear, we are not getting that oxygen deep down in our vessels, deep down into our gut, and being able to circle that energy around. So what we do is we begin this hyperventilation process, and so our minds are actually not even seeing reality for what's actually happening there. There was times that Zach would be saying, or someone would be saying one certain thing, and my mind would construct it to this other way, throwing in different words. And all of a sudden I realized in my own reality, I couldn't even trust what I was thinking or saying, that there wasn't truth. In fact, I would record conversations and I would go back and go, that is so crazy. I heard it totally the opposite. And that's where, like with the awakening, I talked about the coincidentia positorum, waking up into a reality that just wasn't true and that I didn't believe in. But yet I was acting on habituation, these behaviors. And it's like programming yourself to not do that anymore. So looking back on your past, sure, pulling out the power there. Like yesterday we were doing a dream breakdown for a friend of mine, and my first thoughts were, because there was two girls within this dream, and I said, well, what were the ages of these girls if you were to guess, and what was your intuitive sense? And the answer was between the ages of 7 to 8. And it's really, okay, what was happening in your life between the ages of 7 to 8? And what had happened? And a lot of times when you're looking into the ages of 7 to 8, it's kind of like the Freudian aspect that generally ends up with, like, the parents or the siblings, the things that are closest to you. And so what behavior did you then adopt in that space? So let's say that you're 7 and 8, your parents were going through a divorce and you weren't getting the attention. What was happening within that space? And then what behavior did you adopt to maybe get attention, or to be able to find tools, I guess, to navigate that space, if you will? And where are you still doing this now? I talk about, it's so easy for me when I talk about going into my shadow to revert back to, like, the 6-year-old self, so I can get more whiny and really feel like I'm being punished for certain things, and I'm not. This is just a false reality. And so going back in that space is really just to observe, what behavior did you have? Did you learn? I have one in specific for myself that when I was, like, maybe 3, it's almost like, it feels almost like a past life regression, though it was in this lifetime, of when my older sister would pick on me and then go tell my mom that I had done the thing she had done. And I remember very clearly when I made the decision to accept the jealousy, almost like a spirit, an entity. And once you bring that in, and that jealousy in, this now has an agenda that will play out as actions and behaviors into your life, in order for it to sustain and be alive. And this is that part of, I guess, the egoic self, if you will. It was fascinating to me to see how that still works. Time isn't real. Like, your brain doesn't know the concept of time. So you might as well have been that 3-year-old self, like, 2 seconds ago. So until you bring the awareness to it, see what you were getting from it, and then make the choice to change it. And then those cycles will then come up in life. So you'll often have triggers from, like, people driving the grocery store, the people that are closest to you might irritate you in some way. These are all, like, it is never the external reality. It is always you. I've talked a bit about that on the show, but I like to bring the attention to that, and I like to bring the attention that this is a safe space for us all to come together. So if you're having a shit day, having a hard time navigating those shadows, please share this, man. We love you very, very much. And we're all doing this work together. And sometimes it's not pretty. And sometimes it doesn't necessarily feel easy, but this is all a perspective. You don't have to do this alone. Asking for help might be hard, but it is a great tool to learn so that it's not perceived as hard. So I love you guys very, very much. And I definitely felt very, very moved to like share with you the magnitude of like the points where it was horrific and hard and ugly. And what like Willow was saying, like, how do you get rid of that shame and the guilt of what you were doing during that time? Truth is that my higher version of myself doesn't do those things. And this other version of myself that was human and going through this life and uncoding the genetic predispositions, if you will, well, this is sometimes what it looks like. Or it can manifest if you stuff your issues, they go into your tissues, they can manifest as pain. These are not setbacks. These are gifts, if you will. These are gifts. Like, even with the seizures and that, like, I would know that when I would, let's say, enact this jealous behavior, that it was only asking for another seizure. And until I made the decision to transcend it, to transcend the judgment. Judgment still exists if I'm still judging myself. If there are parts of me that I am self-esteem wise struggling with, judgment will come into play. And this is why I was saying don't do it. Don't do it. But if that judgment is flaring up and you're seeing that, ask yourself, where am I judging myself? Go back to that 7-8-year-old like we were talking about yesterday in that dream. And that space, you go and love yourself there. And in this space today, why are you not loving and treating yourself like that precious 7 and 8-year-old or 4-year-old or 3-year-old? In fact, why not the little baby you were? Why not treat yourself like the precious being with no agenda? Literally unconditional love flowing freely through you. Because that is you. There is no separation in the time of your infancy to now. Only your perception holds you back from seeing that. So when you're in that shadow-like behavior, and let's say you're bawling like a little baby on the floor, what would you do for that baby? And you do that for yourself. There, like I'm saying, there is no parents that are going to come along and love it for, like, get that out of you but you. It's no one else's job. And for a long time I battled that. I wanted somebody else to do it because it was easier, it seemed. But it wasn't. Not if I was going to stand in my truth. Not if it was going to be building my own self-confidence or the tools necessary to get through this reality and the chaos that the world can operate in. I have this vision of this monk. There's this picture of this monk that is walking across the crosswalk in New York City. And it's just like a still picture, and you can see like the chaos of reality like going on around him. So like the lights of the cars are like extended. I don't remember what that's called in the hustle of people. Or maybe it was a slow motion Buddhist walking or monk walking across the crosswalk. I just have this image of just how he was just so calm, and none of that was ever affecting him, and there was just a peace about it, and so anyway, this is that image that I want to bring, and that joy of life that just can just exist in this space. And anyway, so those are some of the thoughts that are going through. I can see there's people I would like to say hello to that has come in, and some comments. So. Sammy, something you were like, absolutely. I think that was about the masks. That's what, I don't know what you were saying in that, but that was the image that just came to me. Glad you were talking about this because I've been fighting this hard. Yes, Sammy. Yes. I just, it was something like I could just feel in our space as we're totally entangled. And not just you, Sammy, but just all of us. It is, and thank you for sharing this. thank you. This is the space and what I want to create. If you're having a hard day, let's talk about it. Let's look at it. Let's bring that logical mind to that space, and breathe through it and love yourself through it and bring those affirmations. So wonderful job on even just showing up here, and being willing to navigate. This is, you're a badass. You are. And you like went and you've shared your story with us, and we're all like, we have this beautiful connection at an even deeper level with you at this point, because we see you. So rad. So really it is taking and meditating with yourself. And it doesn't mean just sitting on the floor and umming. It doesn't mean even the beautiful meditations that Robert and I are kind of putting together for you, and building. It is like what you're doing with your mind in those spaces. And our bodies, again, can have flare-ups as we're doing physical healing. It is uncoding and changing the vibration and frequency on a very cellular level. And again, it comes down to the belief. Even if you take the power of what the placebo medicine is, like you have a 17% chance of healing yourself of absolutely everything. However, I think it is much higher than that. But scientifically speaking, they have proven to a 17% chance. That is you, man. You can do it. You can do it. And feeling that emotion, and it is, and then also bringing in the logic. It's not just like sitting within that space and staying stuck there. It is allowing the flow, and then allowing the ability for that. This is why pulling in the animals, for example, if you're like, when I was going through that depression, it just felt like this whirling vortex, like I was inside of a tornado, a black voided tornado. And very much felt this way. And so to even grab a single thing within my mind's eye, inside, was very hard to see. But if I just opened my eyes to the external reality, to the bee that's crawling up my leg, or to these sweet creatures that were there to bring the messages, it would pull me out in a way that I could just view it differently. I think sometimes when you have stories from others or metaphors that are used, or the animals again, or even your dream space, like what is Bob? Why did Bob come into your dream, and what does his symbolism mean to you? All of this is kind of how you bring the play inside of that depressed state. Also, recognizing where that pain is, when it's being depressed down, like Sammy, I think of your neck, right? It's being depressed down by something that is going on within the mind, or something that is going on within the heart. It's like now taking up more of the space and compressing that energetic system. So as above, so below, and just know that you have the tools. The tools exist right there inside of you, and we're here. Like at any point you need to reach out. And so I love you. Thank you for sharing that. Like thank you. Taking those masks. Yes, agreed. Love you all, beautiful souls. I love you, Kevin. Thank you for being here. Seriously, so rad. I learned that lesson last night. LOL. I did not want the owl to stay in my stomach, and I forgot to let it out, and I paid the price for it. Yeah, Jasmine, Kala had shared with me that you had shared something on social media, and she was able to kind of walk you through like opening the windows and doors and allowing it to like go out. And this is also why I bring up that these are very powerful things. Animism is a very powerful medicine, and evoking the spirits is something that I brought up, where you can just simply evoke it and ask it to leave. And again, it's with your mind. And if it is like into the external reality, because I think Kala had shared, like go and open your windows and doors and allow that energy to flow. That also is a clearing of your space. But I think she had also shared that you had purged as well. And know that when you're also bringing these animals in, just like kind of like the frog combo medicine, it can be very much like a purging process. It is coming in and releasing the things that need to be let go. And so it can feel very uncomfortable at times, but it is releasing. So and especially with that owl medicine, I mean, it's very, very powerful. There's a reason that it has been there for very, very, very long time in indigenous cultures. And it is the nighthawk, and it is going in and navigating those shadows. And so when you take it into the gut, and these are the anxieties and the like down into the sacral too, because the sacral is the fear, like where the fears are derived from. So we're opening up those centers, and it can feel fluttery. Rooting it out, taking those wires in your breath and rooting it to the earth. It can be very, very helpful. So thank you for being so open with that. And then it sounded like you reached out on the social media, and there's people right there to be able to help guide you through that. And I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for Caller for showing up when the time was needed. Again, yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel so pretty and awesome and all that kind of stuff, but that's not what it's about. It's about learning that it's not black or white. It's very gray. We were talking on that earlier today, where like you take the idea of the yin and yang, and I'm really the yin and yang should just be gray, or like even like black and white television. Like why did they use black and white television when it was actually on a gray scale? And I think it's just kind of like that hidden aspect that there's not the good or bad or the light or dark. It's actually like a gray, if you will. And so anyway, rad. Hey, hi Sasha, welcome. Nice to see you in here. That's really rad. Cool. Yay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yay, I love you. Medications make you walking dead. Yes. Actually, there's a lot of medicines, like when you're working with plant medicines, like you cannot take any kinds of SSRIs. I think last night, actually, Zach might have explained that on the show. But yeah, so you have to be very, very careful with the different medications. But they do kind of hinder you from being the highest version of yourself, if you will. I know people do use these as tools, but I would definitely say from my own experience that you have the power inside of you to program your heart and your mind and connect with the highest version of yourself and heal those things. You are able to heal anything. So, yeah. And I mean, when I say heal anything, like I've had people that I care about that have passed on, and you know, there's who knows how long that shadow work, you know, is, and when we come back and we'll possibly have more work. But yeah, it definitely medications. I'm not a fan of the Western medications. Yeah, not a fan. This is like when I went and worked at that doctor's office for a while. It was just really hard for me psychologically, because it was like so many people are showing up like you were going to just be able to take a pill and it was going to be able to fix things. And that's not how it works. It's really looking at what's going on within the mind, and looking at the subconscious or unconscious mind, and what is the looping patterns that are happening, and stopping it, and like doing meditations all throughout the day, not just sitting there, but like whether it is like chakra dance, for example, like I did this, you can do it through different kinds of expressions, through drawing, through creation, or even while you're sitting there at a stoplight, through breath work. There's a gazillion different ways we meditate, actually all the time. But yeah, even bringing that focus and attention. I like to say, like even when I first started out, where I was like, well, how do I stop these thoughts? Like I used to have conversations with people in my mind where I'm like, ooh, I should have said this or something like that. And or like people that I cared about, I would like just tell them stories about my day inside my mind. And one, like, it was kind of interesting because those conversations never like came about, or if they ended up being attracted to me, they would never go. Is I had like taken all my energy to spend on my mind. Like, you literally, like, when you build that confidence within yourself, you don't need to have that conversation with the person. Like, if the time comes, like, showing up as yourself today now is where you will have the answers, where that flow state will come. So like, not trying to control that. And so, yeah, like, unwinding my mind on not having those conversations with people anymore was the journey in and of itself with me. I don't know how many of you out there have ever done that before, but it was something that I did. And so I would just do something like taking the power back, where I would just look up and I would see clouds, and I would just say, that's all we're going to say and think about now. And I would just go clouds, 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 clouds. And whenever my mind would start to wander, because it would, the monkey mind, as you start the training, I would just go, oh, I see, there it is again, clouds, clouds. And I wouldn't grow the thought. I would just literally take my power back, that I had the ability to control my thoughts. If you're looking at controlling your external reality, know that you're probably not controlling your internal. And this is where it's time to stop, take a moment, and nothing matters more than just like that focus point. Oh, there's trees, 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 or even nothing, like an amorphous orb or something, just like just one small focus. Yeah. Jasmine love, totally. Okay, guys, I love you so much. And Willow's here. Yay. Hi, Willow. I love you so much. I love you. Yes, so much love around. It is awesome. Oh, so many comments, guys. Willow bark. Oh, that's cute. I like it. Why do you call her Willow bark? What is the bark that I've seen you say that to her a couple times. I would like to know. It's awesome. For reals. Internal controls external. Yep. For reals. I'm sorry I didn't catch the beginning of this. I may have had an edible and a nap. That's awesome. You came exactly the right time, Willow, exactly when you were supposed to show up. So I'm happy that you made it. The first 9 minutes was of the meditation that Robert put in. So 4:36. So yeah, you missed not even 20 minutes of what was being talked about or greeting. So maybe 15 minutes. Yeah. So not nothing. Willow, you freaking hippie. Oh yeah. Edibles are fun. We like to make edibles. Yeah. Discernment is very important, but destructive criticism. Discernment is very important, but destructive criticism is not okay. Very true. Sure, destructive criticism. Turning it to constructive criticism, something that also, like, talking about shadows, that I struggle with criticisms. That's why I like doing a show like this and putting yourself out there, or like putting things onto social media and certain things that people could say, afraid of other people's judgments or anything like that. There is definitely a difference between the destructive criticism, but there is a certain semblance of destruction that needs to take place in this. There are certain actions and behaviors that need to stop. So you being as much as the destroyer as you are the creator, so not being afraid of the destruction. So yeah, minding it, there's a difference. Constructive. Oh, so what I was saying with shadows for myself, not avoiding, is a very easy way for me to jump back into that 6-year-old self is if I feel criticized in some way, and even if it's a constructive criticism. Like, I have people that love me and are here to help me, and it's very easy to jump back into an old version, and it really is stopping that and choosing to do it different and allowing the criticism to be there and in the space. I think it's an interesting journey on that. Like, if you stop judging yourself and understand that things are here to help you and not to hurt you, that most people behind all the intentions, whether it's what is perceived as destructive criticism, it is not to you. Like, what they're doing, they're drinking their own poison. If they're sending the judgments out, this is them, like, actually having the insecurities of self. And this is the other thing I was thinking about, like, something about our English language. the word judgment. Like it pretty much, like it's different. Like if you take the way it is in German, for example, and you look at the definition of judgment in German, it really is saying that what you are doing is something that annoys me about something that I do. It literally, their definition of it is not externalized. It literally is taking it and being like, oh, what you're doing there literally is something that bugs me about myself. This is really big. Our language is, again, magic. We are spelling our realities with our language. The definitions behind them, it's very controlled, if you will. So know that there's other parts of the world that literally have a language that says this is internally something that's happening. And imagine if we were raised that way with our language, we would probably feel very differently when it comes to judgment. Again, or criticism. If you will. I think back a bit on like theater, like I did a lot of theater, and we would have points where we would go up with our plays or our monologues, and you would have the like students or the people that were in the play, they would sit back and they would watch, and then they would bring about what we would call constructive criticism and what their thoughts were on it. And it was like the safe place where you knew that they weren't going to say anything positive. It wasn't about the positive. It was like about the things that would be good to change. So criticism's an interesting one that sometimes I still navigate on when it comes to doing the shadow work. So, I love you guys very much. And I think anytime that somebody's probably giving me some kind of judgment or constructive criticism or criticism of some sort, they're only helping me out. An edible and a nap sounds nice right now. That's awesome. Surrounded by hippies. Love you all. I haven't really I brought marijuana back in just a little bit since I took the break. I've taken four dabs, if you will. And I would say that the reason why I haven't really brought it fully back in, like I like and I enjoy it for the fun aspect. Again, marijuana, if you break down the etymology of it, she is the illusion maker. If this world is operating off of an illusion, she can help teach you and navigate this illusion. But what I did find in taking that long extended break from marijuana, or why I still choose to take time away from it, is the value of my dreams. You can train yourself to still have dreams when you're using marijuana, but it is a very common thing for your dreams to go away. And I found so much healing within my dream space over the last month that now when I'm utilizing it, it really is more on that fun process and an enjoyment, and letting myself kind of experience this illusion, if you will, playing with that spirit and that medicine. But I really am still staying pretty strong to the concept that I'm just not fully incorporating it back in now because of just my own healing process. And I'm grateful that I'm doing that. I really, it's been really, really rad to be able to lucid dream to that degree again, and have the astral projections like I used to on a regular basis. So yeah, but there are things, you guys, when it comes to dreams, like the Monroe Institute has a lot of stuff to teach you, necessary things to do before you go to bed. I think it's at 40 hertz, putting, they have the binaural beats out there for you to listen to be able to sync with the frequency, to be able to get the lucid dreams and the astral projections, and then setting your intentions. And there is work you can do and still utilize the use of the medicine. I would say that it was a very, very excellent medicine for me to navigate much of this reality, especially during the seizure times, really learning what it is to calm my system when I was operating at such high levels of fear. I was fearful of using any kinds of plant medicines because of my overusage of alcohol for those few years. So I really stayed away from using it. And also other people's judgments, again, for a while, really affected me talking about it, and also, openly sharing about it. Today, I don't it's not about that. It literally is bringing the information that I found and tools that were very beneficial. And you guys also share that, which is really cool. I had somebody that just began using marijuana for pretty much the first time in their life, and they're in their 30s. And it's very interesting to hear how her body is really there's changes in the help that it is providing to her. So yeah, love the plant medicines. New York City is cray cray. Why is New York City cray cray? Yeah, I'd like to hear more. That was me last night. Didn't go to sleep until 6 a.m. and I just wanted someone to save me. I felt I would burst at any moment, even thought for a second I was dying. Then I just let it pass through me. Do you have panic attacks, Jasmine? Because like a lot of times panic attacks can come and it really feels like death is knocking at the door, and it's either you or it's going to be your children or your husband or something is happening. I don't have panic attacks anymore, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Breath work is very, very helpful. And again, it is not buying into the illusions of your mind. And there is a moment with yourself that you will be able to find that will pull you out. And it says right here, you thought about it, just letting it pass through you. Yep. See, there was something where you recognized that this was not a permanent, that it could flow just like all emotions flow, and allow it to just pass and flow right out. Yeah. And then again, too, Jasmine, we talk about like the protections and, the hereby give license to depart. I don't know if you ended up saving that, so I can resend that to you again, is doing a clearing of your space so that you can make sure that nothing is coming into that space. Also shutting down, like the crown and just rooting yourself and just connecting yourself to the earth. And breath work is huge when you're in some semblance of panic and fear state. You're just not breathing, and it can just exacerbate that. So it's a journey to go through that, and there's something that you're trying to tell yourself. And what are you doing today to kind of balance like that pendulum swing? Like you don't want to swing so much to the other side. Like oftentimes you could be like where you get that manic, everything is wonderful and great, and we don't want to do that full pendulum. We want to be able to come to that balance center. So I am really grateful that you are sharing this, like the thoughts of letting it pass. I really like Kala's mention where she talks about her single cell, where if you take your attention, instead of getting lost there, you're like, no, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull in one of my cells, and I'm going to think about calming that one cell, what that looks like, what that feels like. Breathe the energy into it. And what you find, because they're all connected, is that it will end up calming all the others. Also, your parasympathetic nervous system, your whole nervous system, is really on high alert. So again, coming back to the breath work, the box breathing that I talked about a few times on this show, when you're going through the depressions and also the panic stages, coming in and doing and just starting with 4 seconds of your breath, and I'll re-explain it again, is just breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, exhalating for 4 seconds, and then holding that for 4 seconds. And you keep cycling it. Hold 4 seconds. Breathe in 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds. This is something that is used all over, right down to the SEALs training when they're amidst the craziest amount of fear. And the more you do that, the more you develop that as a tool, and you can easily just slide into that box breathing. And you can go longer than 4 seconds. In fact, when you get deeper with your breath, there's times that it's like 4 seconds just isn't long enough. It's like, oh, I'd really like to get my breath all the way deep into my lungs. I now would like my breath to get all the way deep into my belly. I'd now like to get that breath all the way down to my toes. And so that journey and that process can then take more seconds, right? So you're now up to 8 seconds. but it's not panicking that system. Like, oh no, I'm holding my breath. Can I hold it any longer? Because I'm already on this high alert. This is why I think 4 seconds is a good start. And I like 4 because it's also conjunction, and this is how you can pinch yourself into a whole new dimensional reality. Only thing now is my throat is irritated from all the literal purging I purged until I had nothing left to purge. Yeah. Like you don't have to imbibe medicine, like like plant medicines, for example, that are purgative. Like literally, like even just with the meditations, you see that there's no separation there. I'm sorry, your throat is hurting. Like honey, lemon, and warm water. That helps a lot. If you have access to those things, I would highly recommend that for your throat. That's something that I've used for quite a while, and it's very helpful, and it feels really good. I mean, the lemon, like that's also going to go in acidically and like help heal that. And the honey will be very soothing, and the warm water. But yeah, purging is part of this journey, guys. It can come as, like even like headaches, for example, you have running noses, running eyes, like having like horrific shits, farts, like there's all different ways our body is actually working on letting go. So yeah, I don't think in America we talk about that too much, and especially for women. But I talked about letting go of my family traumas yesterday, and then right before the show, I had missed call from an uncle that I don't want relationship with for many reasons. I blocked him. See, like when you start to do the shadow work, like literally you end up purging those entities, if you will, out. They no longer have power over you. And when you begin to see it working for you and not against you, it's easier to navigate. Honestly, after all that, I feel lighter today. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how it works. I'm very grateful that Kala helped. I was at my wit's end already. Yeah. And reaching out and asking for help. And as a caretaker, Jasmine, like that's huge. That is really huge. And it's like you can gather that information, but only you can be the one to make the decision to enact it. And not being afraid to puke. Like oftentimes we're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. And then it's just allow that journey to happen. There are 3 sides to every coin. Yes, there is, Willow. Yes, there is. Seizure medications is what I was talking about. Oh yeah. Interesting. I never took any seizure medications. Did you have seizures, Kevin? I would be interested to hear that. But yeah. Oh, you know what? I did take a seizure medication once upon a time. I can't remember the name. Sorry, with an N, I want to say. Yeah, I would just say it just feels weird. You have the chemicals going into your body. Yeah, I like, gosh, Western medicine is just, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies just to go back and think about them. I feel like also I would like to take note with seizures. Something that helped me very much was microdosing psilocybin. I would say that like, and I've shared this before, is like, even if I took more than a microdose, like I probably took 3-4 grams, more, which is more than a microdose. I wouldn't even feel it more than, like, it never made me feel like a psychedelic way. It literally was as if the medicine was going in, and it would do things like, oh, it looks like your serotonin is pretty low in here. Maybe we could raise up your serotonin, And I don't know why it was that voice, but that was the voice it used to me. And then I would go, oh, that's exactly right. Like with this depression, like I really need to raise up that serotonin. What does that mean? And what does that look like? And so then I would go and I would start to read about serotonin. I'd learn that that it was mostly produced in my gut. And then what could I do to heal that gut? And even like with the breath work, or the fact that we're our own chemists. So in my mind's eye, I would go in and I would, raise up the serotonin and lower, these different chemicals inside, and like just kind of be that chemist, and I would play with that. Or other times it would kind of be like the idea of turning up the dials. But really it was taking the power back with that. But yeah, it's medications, seizure medications. I did have one once. I remember. Before my seizures, actually, it was for a totally different condition, and they're like, "Oh, let's try seizure medication for this as well." I love you too, beautiful. Thank you for doing what you do. I love you, Sasha. It's my pleasure, really, really. Doctors and I don't get on too well because I refuse most medications. Yeah, Sammy, like we talked about that in your journey and trying to find like the diagnoses and all that kind of stuff. It's. I have friends that are doctors. I have friends that are nurses, and I appreciate them very, very much for what they're doing out there. And so I want to pay my love and respect and homage. I always just got this overwhelming sense that there was something missing. And when it came to the medications, I always had a very difficult time on the pay that like doctors, for example, would get for prescribing certain medications. It felt very manipulated. I've gone and had interesting journeys when it comes to the Western medicine. Yeah. But Sammy, you've been on quite a journey with your body, and now like I'm saying, like the psilocybin and the work that you're doing with that is very, very helpful. Figuring out where those issues were stuffed, and navigating those shadows and learning how to love yourself right in that space. I promise it will be what is going to change this reality for you. So just keep on doing that work and add in more and more affirmations and self-love, and balance that so that those habits can be broken. I mean, actions and behaviors even were being done on habituation until I really stopped it and became that governor of my mind. And that still is a daily discipline for me, because like I'm saying, like sometimes I can perceive criticism and it's like it's like this trigger, and it's like, who are you when you're triggered? And seeing that, and then seeing how you can do it different. And the more you do that, the more the new powers, and the not new, these powers have always been in us, but this is what brings about that change, and you become the highest version of yourself. I even told the doctor just last week that I disagreed with their advice. That went down well. Yeah, I bet that went down real well. Yep. It was an interesting journey. Even Kala, I hope she also shares her story. I think many of us, like when you go on the path, like for so much of my life, because I would externalize the care and the healing. I just wanted to be like the deer in the headlights, like, oh, I don't know what's going on with my body, even though I was like so educated on like anatomy and like injuries and all this. And it's like I would injure myself and I'd be like, I don't even remember the name of this. Like if it was on you, I would like be able to spat the name of it, but it's the spot right here and it hurts right here. What do I do? I'd be like really separated, and I'd really want somebody else to explain it to me. And I had to really stop that. And then really like, just because they have the education, it does not mean they know what they're talking about. It's just like a lot of guesswork for them. It's like I said, I've had friends that are doctors, and it's just fascinating to watch that. And even for me, like I'm a medical intuit, so when I'm working with a client, I know exactly where that injury is and where we need to go and heal it. And most of the time it'd be like, oh, I'm here for my hurt shoulder, and I'm like, no, it's coming from your pinky toe right here, bing bang boom, and we like fix it up, and then all of a sudden that shoulder's moving in all directions and doing all the things. So our bodies are very, very fascinating, and being that intuitive sense of like, you know your body better than anyone else. So listen. And the more you listen, the more you train that intuition. And intuition is a sense that has to be trained. Good on you, Sam. Doctors don't always know best. This is accurate. They wanted me to take a medication and I didn't agree. Then went on to say that the issue wasn't too bad and they would monitor the problem in a year's time. Yeah. good on you. Good on you to listen and stand strong to that, and then to see how there's a lot of weeble wobble. Like, we often go to the doctors and think you will have the answers, and I think that was why it was also very difficult for me working at the doctor's office, because it's not that I don't have the answers, if you will. It just is, it looks very much like you need to be doing this work and there isn't this magic pill that I'm going to give you. And in fact, I mean, you can talk about the words as being a magic pill, but good on you for listening. Good on you. Yeah, I love it. Love. Not really necessary to poison myself with the medication then, was it? No, and it is a lot of poison that you're putting in there. So paying attention to that, and learn about the chemicals, like even in the medications, like if you go to the molecular level and you look at how does that actually interact with your body. I definitely tend to go on those more plant medicines, and then also just healing the trauma that caused it in the first place. And then that will help break it up. Willow bark, because bark is the skin of the tree. It's what most people will look at first to decipher what type of tree it is. Yes, I like it. And then I just think of bark, and then beaver, and the beaver eats the tree. And then did any of you see that silly video? There was this man that comes walking out, and he walks up and he's like, "Oh, it's an aspen tree." And he's pointing it out, and he's like, "Do you know how it's an aspen tree? Because the way it looks, or because of the way it is?" I can't remember how it goes. I just loved it up. But he was like so excited. "Oh, it's an aspen tree. Do you know how you know it's an aspen tree? It's because of the way it is." And I just think too, like the color of the bark. If you guys have not seen that meme, try and find the aspen tree guy. It is hilarious. I like it. That's a very cute nickname. Thank you for sharing that, Sasha. That is fun. I love it. So it's the first thing I thought of when I saw her name, what the bark of willow trees look like. Oh, and then the willow tree. Oh, see, I guess when I think of the willow tree, like pussy willows, is the pussy willows the same thing as the willow tree? I would like to know that, actually. When I think of my little sister, when she was a little girl, she stuck a pussy willow up her nose, and she didn't want to tell anyone that she had done it. And so days later, she was sitting in class, and she ended up sneezing, and the pussy willow came flying out of her nose. And this kid turns around, he's like, "Natalie, did something just fly out your nose?" It's totally inside joke for so long. But anyway, I'd be interested. Is a willow tree, is that what grows the pussy willows? Because when I think about it, I guess in my mind it almost seemed like more like a bush, but I can see the branches of it coming up, because there's willows definitely all over Washington State. Damn, Jen, whoa. I don't know what we were woeing about. I did a dab about a year ago. I was good for the rest of the year from that one. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of oil available around this location. So yeah, dabs are pretty strong, I would say, when it comes to the marijuana. I hadn't ever had dabs until not even quite 3 years ago. And yeah, they're very strong. I'll tell you that taking the break from smoking anything, like even like last night, it was like the whole time the Atom was on, like the whole experience of that. I was stoned for so long, and it was really, really, really rad to have that experience, because that's the thing with marijuana too that I want to take note of, is like the more you smoke it, if you use it on a regular basis, you're just not really getting stoned anymore. And so there's like an aspect of taking that medicine in, but like when you take a break from it, you really get the magnitude of that medicine. And so yeah, dabs, ha ha ha. Jen, you were talking about the monk in New York City. I feel like that monk. I live in New York. Oh yeah. Good. I'm glad that you feel like that monk walking through the chaos of New York. I've been to New York before. I had wanted to live in New York when I was doing all the theater, and I had one of the colleges I was accepted to was there in New York City, but I did not go down that path. And yeah, New York is quite the place when it comes to lots of energies. I'm definitely way more of a nature gal than a city gal these days. Wim Hof watch party on Facebook after the show. Okay. I'm not sure, like after the show, I know we normally go and get dinner, get prepared. So if I have a few minutes, I'll try and pop on. But today we, Joey, Kala, Lucinda, Zach, and I, we went to the river again. And it was so beautiful and so awesome. There's like this swim hole on the river. And so we were all, well, Zach did not get in, but that's cool. But it was colder. You know, it was a very hot day, but I've definitely been in much, much colder waters. Like there was a time and some photographs out there of me skinny dipping in the polar, like going into the river where there's like still snow on the ground. And so like doing your breath work and all that. But like even today, like it was colder. And so we did, like Colin and I, we were working with like the Wim Hof breathing to like just like kind of accept it. And it's funny, like if you just jump into cold water, it is different. Like you shock your body and it's faster to adapt to it. But my journey with it today was to slowly and gradually walk myself into the experience, like inch by inch. And yeah, it was very fascinating, very fun. So it's kind of funny you bring up Wim Hof today. That's cool. Working on that, right? Meow. Cool. Cultivation has begun. Yes. And it is back to the breathing. Like, and I get that because I was talking about like the box breathing and all of that. You guys, seriously, like even if I'm not able to jump on, like I love that you're doing different breath work kind of meditations or bringing that information. The more you do this, the more you are sharpening your tools for the moments and times that you need it. So I love it. There are many species of willow trees. Ah, yes, I love it. Okay, all right. So they are willow trees. That's what I get. So there's just many species of them. So yeah. Anyway, that is really really cool. Really awesome. So, what else? Okay, so, well, we'll see you in a few, Sasha. I love you. Willow, thank you for having such a rad name for us to play with. It really, all of us just have such powerful names. And like I said, our names are our blessings and our curses, but like literally there's messages all over the place. And then also learning more and more about the plants and the critters. And it's brought to you today by your name, Willow. So thank you. It was very interesting today. I saw another creature I have never seen in my life. So the experiences were very novel at the river. It was called a bumblebee beetle. Did you know there's bumblebee beetles? Like seriously, there's bumblebee beetles. So the moment I got into the river, this like stick came floating down and it hit my leg, and I bent down like kind of to move the stick because it was kind of like stuck onto my leg, if you will, and I realized that there was a beetle that was on the stick, and so I like picked it up and I saw it was like clinging on for like dear life, if you will, and so I picked it up and put it out of the water, and I wasn't sure if it was alive or dead, and it was just like still stuck to the branch. I had a feeling it was still alive, and so I just set it on the side of the riverbank, and just kind of letting it do its thing. And next thing you know, this like bumblebee, it looked like this big bumblebee, just like jumped on the back of this beetle that I just saved. And it was like, I think it was killing it. And I realized that this beetle that I was saving was not dead and it was actually alive. So now this beetle was having to like fight for its life in a whole new way. And then I was like so torn. And then even Colin and I were kind of making mention because there was some like movie, I can't remember what it was called again at this time. It came out in like the late 90s, and it was like these people were supposed to have died that night, but then they didn't, and so like it showed like them going through all these different deaths afterwards. I don't remember what it was called if you saw this anyway, but it was almost like that where it was like you saved this thing and maybe it was supposed to have died, but now I'm seeing this other creature that jumps on it and it literally was fuzzy. Like its legs were fuzzy like a bumblebee, its back was fuzzy, and at first I was thinking that's what it had to be, was a bee. And then I recognized that its wings on its back were more like almost like they were harder and smaller, like the beetle, and it was like the size of the beetle, and its antennas were like, they looked like like deer antlers. I mean, it was weird. And we didn't have service there, so I couldn't like just Google. So I was like trying to like get all the information. And by the time I got with my phone to take a picture, it didn't happen. It was gone. But I was so I was just grappling with myself. Do I save this beetle again? What is happening here? And so in the end, I decided to save the beetle, and so I got that other beetle off its back, the bumblebee beetle. But I thought it was so interesting because even when I like researched it, it seems like it's just such a docile beetle that just like kind of pollinates and does like similar things like the bumblebee does. So it was so weird that it was like just attacking this other beetle. And then I also wonder, maybe it was just like coming in and maybe it was trying to mate with this beetle. I'm not totally sure what was going on yet, but it was very strange animal medicine today. Have any of you out there seen bumblebee beetles before or ever heard of them? I would encourage you to take a look. They're very fascinating, and they definitely date back to like 127.1 billion years ago or something like that, something crazy, million years ago, probably a million, on this planet. So they found them in fossils and all this kind of stuff. So historically speaking, they go way back. And it's also in the scarab beetle family, which is that rebirth. So there is quite a lot of medicine within this beetle. And that was also like, honestly, the beetle that I had initially saved looked very much like a scarab beetle. So yeah, very, very fascinating creatures out there. We also saw another one, which I had seen before, and I was pretty sure that it was in the fly family. And there's now I can't remember the name of it, but it looks like a bee, and it's furry like that, but it has like a nose that comes out that almost makes you think like it would be like a mosquito. And the long legs like a mosquito, which is very interesting because like with mosquito legs, they've evolved themselves to like so that you can't really feel them on your skin, and how they like will take off to fly. I think most things fly backwards before they fly forwards, and that's not true for like the mosquito. So anyway, it was a very fascinating little creature. Kala had definitely not seen one before, so it was a lot of novelty within our space. But it's a fly, and it's a fly that will end up laying its eggs by like beehives and hornets' nests, and the hornets and bees like don't realize that it's not a bee. So when it lays like its eggs, like the larva ends up going and like eating the grubs from the different hives around. So it's a very sneaky one. Can't stay for the whole show, but I will catch up later. Love you, Jen, and everyone. I love you too, Jasmine. Thank you for stopping by for as long as you did. I love you, love you. And thank you for sharing your journey with us. Really, this is what I wanted on this show, was to actually talk about what it's like to navigate the shadows, not sugarcoat it. Literally be like, holy shit, that sucked for a moment, because sometimes it does. It does, and that's okay. That's okay. And learning to sharpen your tools within that space and asking for help. You're a badass, Jasmine, and Sammy for sharing that. You're a badass. All of us are. And being able to stand in that, it's cool. And it's authenticity and pulling the masks off. So please come back, because part of this meditation we're doing today is going to be taking some of those masks off and just allowing ourselves to be truly our authentic selves. Really, and what does that look like, and what does that feel like? I think that's an important meditation, and what I want to bring in. I definitely would say, like when I went through my one of the many awakening experiences, was really, it was like I took all my masks off, and I had no idea how to show up. I had no idea how to really communicate and how to talk, and that there was so many things that I just didn't believe that people around me were talking about, and yet I didn't know how to disagree, or to stand in like the things that I had learned, like how to even communicate them. I definitely felt very socially retarded in so many ways. I mean, even then you bring on the seizures, even more social retardation came from that. Like, or just like really retardation of the mind when you seize like that, and then piecing yourself back together, and that transcension process. So yeah, I love you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Yeah, and then creating this very safe space for us all to come together is very crucial. Especially if we're going to learn how to truly love ourselves. And I think my next biggest message is like, when you do this work and what my life looks like today. Like there was people in my life before, guys, that I thought would be in my life forever. I had friends that I was friends with for like 28 years or something like that. And when I was going through these processes, like the lack of trust they had in me, the way that I had perceived that I wanted somebody to show up, like answering the phone when I called, still silly things, or messages. There was just these aspects where all of a sudden, like these friendships that I had and valued for so long, I ended up looking back and just going, well, where were you all this time? Where was this? Did I just create all of this? Like, I like, even like when I was telling you, like I used to just talk to my friends inside my mind, and I was not actually nurturing or building the relationships. And it wasn't, again, the external. It wasn't necessarily them at all. It was me. It was me not showing up because I didn't show up for myself. It was me hiding away, so nothing was nurtured or built with that. But at the same time, it like people that I thought would be in my life forever are not in my life today. Family members, not in my life today. Doesn't mean that I don't love them. Doesn't mean that I don't send them love and care. But there were boundaries that had to be set. There were balances that had to take place. And there was also points of, this is me. If you don't like it, then you need to get the fuck on. And so that happened. And what I want to say today is to be able to create a space that I am learning what true friendship actually looks like, being able to ask for help when help is needed and having them just show up, or like even having friends that will just walk in with food, you know, like, and just be like, here, I made this for you, you know, like aspects like that. And you're like, what the fuck? This is new, you know, like I don't even know what to think in this space. The relationships that I have in my life today are of such value, and also, are on the like vibration, if you will. We're all on that same path, and the importance of that. It's like you need people, like you need to trust yourself. But if you have people in your life that aren't trusting that journey, like be careful what you're attracting. Every cell has frequency. So even the thoughts that people are creating around you, or the judgments, like don't be afraid to set those boundaries. I will tell you, there's certain people that end up coming back. And when they come back, they're super worth it, because they're accepting you for exactly where you are now. And they also fill in the blanks of the change. Like there's a whole huge and slew of aspects to it. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, whether it's your parents or even your children, even like whoever it is. Like, don't put the status, don't put the identity on it. This is about how you learn to love yourself so that you can love and you can create this. It is creating that future, and you can create that future in your mind of that person that you love being there and showing up and them getting it and doing it, like, and do all the necessary steps. Like when you gather the growth and that bandwidth of information, you shoot it right to them. You're still connected. There's no difference in space and time. So, and that's what I try and tell my family. Like, I remember, like, Utah was all on fire. My dad's ranch was about to catch on fire and all this kind of stuff. And everyone's feeding the energy of that. And I didn't call. I didn't build. I sat in my space, and I sent the love to that area. I took away whatever worry or sending like the like not like the opposite of the creation, because when you're like sitting in that worry space and that fear space, you're only asking the universe for more of that. And so I have a different way that I approach things, and so I let my people know, you know, like just because I'm not there does not mean I'm not doing work. Like, no, if I love you, I'm always doing work. And like I said, I have an abundance of energy, and it's spoken through love. Like literally, we all have it, all access to an endless amount of energy. And there's no good or bad energy. But mine that I choose to communicate with is love. So you just tap right into that green beam, and it's there. It's there for you. And breathe it in. Taking my mask off. My energy is very low today. Some help to boost my energy would be very gratefully received. Awesome. Navigating my boundaries is a work in progress right now. I am getting there. Yes. Awesome, Sammy. We are sending you the energy today. We will pull you in with this meditation and specifically put a focused point of energy towards you. It's already happening. Just even talking about it, everyone that just heard that already created something in their mind and a perspective. And so the work is already started. Again, you are not alone. But there is that solo process where, again, like taking that mask off, only you could do that, right? But here's your safe space that you created in your reality and you showed up today. You did that. It's looking at all of the positive things that you're actually doing within these spaces. It's 50-50 when you're operating in duality. It's 50% shit and it's 50% awesome. So what are you doing with your perspective? So bringing in that logic, like your energy is very low today. Why logically are we having low energy? Is your body actually healing? So perhaps you need to have more rest where you're lying down, even if the world around you is maybe tugging you and saying you need to be doing a gazillion things. Perhaps you need to be saying no. Like when you talked about your neck when it first did the leak and you were at work and you're like, no, I'm going to push myself and do a little bit more. Oftentimes in this life, less is more. Dial it back. And the thought that came to me is the Weber-Fechner law. I've talked about it before, but the Weber-Fechner law talks about 40-to-1 ratio, where if you were to stand there and you were blindfolded and you were holding a tray that weighed 40 pounds, we all could pretty much almost hold 40 pounds. Granted, if you have a neck problem, don't necessarily recommend it, but balancing the 20 between your hands, a lot of us can hold the 40 pounds. So you're holding this blindfolded, and if someone comes along and puts 1 pound increments or less onto this tray, you will not notice it. You could pile up 200 pounds based off of 1 pound and 1 pound and 1 pound 200 times, 1,000 times. Your mind has no idea that it's happening. And it's a pretty awesome law, pretty awesome thing to know that our bodies can actually carry much more weight. But when we're looking, like if we were to actually be looking, oh, there's another pound, there's another pound, there's another pound, we would not be able to do it. But when you don't realize that it's happening, you literally are able to hold that. And I had this, like when I was learning about the Weber-Fechner law, I started to think about like with the weight of my thoughts, like when I would loop my thoughts, for example, especially when you're having like things like chronic pain and it keeps cropping up and keeps cropping up. And I thought, what if every one of those were those 1 pound increments? So what do I need to do to just put this tray down? And again, it's less is more, or the fact that you're strong enough to be able to hold it. I mean, there's a lot of sides of metaphor that you could take from the Weber-Fechner law, but most of us are not realizing how much weight we're actually carrying back to that box that you're walking around with. And when I'm in the jungle and they're telling me you got to set that box down. Again, when we're working with also the astrological signs and why like the new moon and full moon meditations and the half moon, we're going to do something for that because Sammy, you said, I want balance. You asked the universe for balance. And tomorrow will be the half moon, the perfectly balanced moon. And so being in this middle space is you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And I love you, and you're awesome. You're awesome. So, astrologically speaking, we have 6 planets that are either in retrograde or about to be in retrograde. We're in Gemini currently, and Gemini is the duality. It's the twins. So you're going to be having a lot of things coming your way right now. And this is coming at you in an external reality sense, but it is all the things that are going on internally that can, if you are not balanced inside, feel like you're being thrown off a bit. And it is about the perspective. So gratitude is very, very helpful. Dialing it back, less is more. Imagining like getting into the space where, again, like where these pains are coming, let's say in your body, you imagine the pain flowing out. You imagine, how do you rest that area more? I have a issue with the word relax. You get relax a lot out there. Like in yoga, you get relax a lot. Relax actually, they have proven, does the opposite, where, it's like somebody just tells you to relax. You're like, don't tell me to relax. It literally triggers the opposite response. So bringing in the soft gentleness and care to the vessel. Your vessel has gone through a lot, and it is time for it to recover. We can reverse. We can Benjamin Button you, but we're reversing some stuff now. So, we'll pull in some healing energy. We're already doing that as we're just talking about it. That's just part of it. I know, like, when I ruptured my Achilles tendon, and it was a very long healing process. And I read this quote that was like, life is like a dance, and more like the cha-cha, where you take a couple steps forward and a couple steps back, but you're really actually moving forward. But it's that perception. You might be perceiving that you're moving backwards, but it's just your body's way of just, kind of showing where you're at right now and today. And I know that we just want to magically have it over with and have it done. But honestly, in hindsight, for me, no, I didn't. I needed every one of those steps so that I could sit here with myself and be like, holy shit, guys, I just did this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and I am proud of myself. I don't need anyone else to say that to me. I don't need anyone else to validate that. And that is rad. And I have a support system in my life that I can't even believe that I have. Like, seriously, at first when I was like, California? Like, I've just been building my business here in Leavenworth, Washington, and I'm the gypsy life. So, of course, my gypsy life is taking me to the next destination. And the first, couple weeks, I struggled. And the next thing you know, the world is shut down and COVID is coming and blah, 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 blah. And I'm in, the safest spot I could have ever been with the raddest friends around me. I mean, even Kala hasn't left. Why hasn't she left? Because it's freaking awesome here. It's awesome here. And we're all about the healing. So, I mean, just thinking about that future where you have no pain, where you have found that balance, that you have, whatever, your creation, man, what you want for your future. I love you. So, this is awesome. Thank you. Very grateful. I know what I have to do. It's just taking a bit of time to put it into practice. Yeah. That's it. And it's breaking the habituations. You've been acting a way for so long. You have a cellular structure that you're programming, and it's making effective changes. So be kind and patient with yourself. Patience. All of the above. Yes. Okay. So, I think, there was lots of critters that I saw today. Is there any animals you guys want to pull in? I was thinking that perhaps we could pull in a 3-card draw of what is helping us where we're at right now and what is hindering us. But if you want to throw in any animals that you might want to have come into our space, I do think the beetle is a pretty powerful medicine. Rebirth. I wonder if it's in this book. Let me see if it's in here. Yeah. So as I'm looking, if you want to state any of the animals, that would be awesome. No, I do not see it. But what I do see is this. Boop, 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 beetle. This, it first says, be aware of the things you do and take responsibility for all of your actions. Ah, that is very good. That is very good. I want to do this. Boop. Control C and Control E. Boom. Boom. Oh, hi, Red Dog. Red Dog is coming over. Okay, so it says, in this case, beetle symbolism is asking you to make changes in your life that do not necessarily comply with you being true to yourself. In other words, the beetle meaning is letting you know that you must evaluate the situation in its entirety so that you can find a way to compromise. The presence of this spirit animal means that change will come whether you want it to or not. Moreover, the beetle meaning shows you that compromise is the only way that you can maintain your integrity and beliefs. More than likely, this entire predicament is related to an ongoing unresolved family situation. Unfortunately, it requires your participation even though you have been able to maintain some distance. Thus, the beetle meaning insists that you must find a way to remove yourself from the drama. Only then can you be a harbor of sanity amid the insanity. Alternatively, the beetle symbolism is giving you notice of favorable outcomes to the current difficulties you are now facing. Therefore, things are now rolling to a close. By maintaining your integrity, things will soon resolve. See, we're right on our way. Yeah. It does break down the different, a few of the different beetles. I feel like the scarab beetle was really honestly the medicine that I received. So, I want to bring in the scarab beetle. It says, people with the scarab beetle totem have a secure connection with the sun. They are often sun worshippers and will follow the sun to warmer climates. They are wise beyond their years and have very productive nature. These folks have excellent reasoning skills and are always in the state of transformation as they tear down and rebuild themselves. They can also find their way in the darkest of moments without too much trouble. People with the scarab beetle totem make excellent diplomats, religious leaders, and artists. I don't know. Like I guess that's breaking down. Like I guess if that's more of your totem, and I get that. So the sun definitely has a lot of power in it. I don't know how many of you have ever done sun gazing before, but like the sun gazing itself, I ended up doing a bit of that back in. Let's see, I started it when I was on a journey in St. George, and I recognized that like having blue eyes, it just is more sensitive to the sun than what brown-eyed people like have. It just it's just what I had learned, and so and then I also wondered how much my eyesight, how much my sensitivity was being affected by also wearing sunglasses. And then also what that meant for my reality and how I was viewing it if I was wearing sunglasses. And so I decided to try sun gazing. And the best way to start with sun gazing is really at a sunrise or a sunset. And it was really rad. And it really is rad. I thought that you wouldn't be able to stare into the sun, that it would just burn your retinas. That was what I was taught. And I found that when I stared into the sun, that it was almost like I did this own lens, this like purple lens went over, and I was just able to gaze at the sun with no issues, no pain. And it was like just this connection and downloading of information of like what, like the messages that the sun has. And the sun is, like there's Ra, like there's so many symbolic meanings of the sun that go right back. I mean, the sun itself like can also be taken all the way to Jesus Christ in metaphor. So there's a lot of stuff with that. I do recommend sun gazing. I don't wear sunglasses today. I also found like when I lived out in the desert or in sunny places that when I squint, like doing it, then all of a sudden I would get like tan lines. So it even appeared like I had wrinkles when I just had like the squinting wrinkles. And so like even for like aesthetic reasons that I wanted to be able to like just walk out in nature without feeling like I had to squint my eyes, or if I forgot my sunglasses that it wouldn't be like detrimental. And there was all these aspects to it. And now today I still don't wear sunglasses, and I definitely felt the power and the energy, just kind of like this other level of balancing within myself, and very heart centered. The sun is pretty interesting. The sun is interesting, and so is the moon. Yeah, very interesting. Like it's like a projector. Yeah. So what do you be aware of the things you do and take responsibility for? Oh, I put that there. Yes. So yeah, for this meditation, I definitely want to bring in the beetle, and the scarab beetle in particular. The like the medicine that I read there didn't say this, but the scarab beetle is for rebirth and being reborn. So as we start this journey for our new lives, or where we're at just even now, is really, well, every day we wake up, we are new. It's a new life and it's a new beginning. It's like when we go to bed, it's like that old version of ourselves dies, and then we have this new version that we get to wake up to. We're in a constant state of rebirth. We're in a constant state of change. We're in a constant state of creations and destructions. We're surrounded with death all the time, and most of us don't even see that. Like we have a gazillion possibilities and potentials all the time, and we choose only one. But we actually had like 6 or 6 million, and we only chose one. But every dimensionality of ourselves past here probably chose one of all the other ones. But in this reality, the idea of what you would have then been had you made that decision no longer exists. So yeah, I look at death very, very differently than a lot of people out there when it comes to it. So I didn't see any of you throwing out any animal totems today. So we're going to do a 3-card draw and see what we'll pull in, with also including the beetle. So the first card, and this is what will, and it came out reversed. So what will help us? The moose. So what will help us? Of course. Wanted to fly its way back in here. This is where we're at right now. This is it. Interesting. This one was reversed as well. And what will hinder us? Upside down box. So, let's find out what is being said here. I've opened right to it like instantly. Moose, help me to honor the gifts I can give and recognize my worthiness long as I live. Oh my gosh, that just warmed my heart so much. I love it. And the moose is self-esteem. Oh man, why? Like I feel like crying or something. I don't know. This stuff is so powerful. And moose is found in the north of the medicine wheel, as is buffalo. North represents the place of wisdom. Self-esteem is the medicine of moose because it represents the power of recognizing the wisdom has been used in situation, and that recognition or a pat on the back is deserved. I see you, and I recognize all of you guys. You are doing the thing, and I love you, and I'm patting you on your back. And I'm giving you a great big hug. Like huge. Moose is the largest member of the deer family. And deer medicine is gentleness. And has great strength. The call of the male moose is an awesome thing to hear on a musky spring night. His pride in his maleness and his desires to share his seed with a moose cow are displays of his sense of self-esteem. The bellow of a male moose can be viewed as a positive force since it represents his willingness to tell the world about his feelings. And look at you telling the world about your feelings. Like seriously, freaking badass. The wisdom woven throughout this scenario is that creation constantly brings forth new ideas and further creation. Moose is telling us that joy should be shouted with pride. The wisdom in doing the shouting is that the joy is catching. In a sense, the bellowing is a way for all of us to lighten up and gives ourselves or each other a well done. I like it. I like it. It's not easy navigating the shadows, man, but it's got to be done. Good fucking work, man. Good work. Rad. Moose medicine people have the ability to know when to use the gentleness of deer and when to activate the stampede of buffalo. Love it. They understand the balance between giving orders to get things done and having a willingness to do things themselves. The wisdom of moose medicine is akin to the grandfather warrior who has long since put away his war paint and is now advising the young bucks to cool their blood. Moose medicine is often found in elders who have walked the good red road and have seen many things in their earth walk. Their joy lies in being the teachers of the children and in being the first ones to give encouragement. This is not to say that moose medicine people do not use their wisdom to warn as well as to give praise, because they do. Moose medicine people know what to say, when to say it, and to whom. The elders are honored in tribal law for the gifts of wisdom, for their teaching abilities, and for the calmness they impart in counsel. If you are wise beyond your years and have the gift of moose medicine, use the gift to encourage others to learn and grow. There are many facets to the wisdom of moose medicine. If you have chosen the moose card, you have reason to feel good about something you have accomplished on your journey. This may be a habit you have broken, a completion of some sort, an insight on a goal, or a new sense of self that you have fought hard to earn. It is time of feeling harmonious pride and of recognizing those who aided you in the process. One good exercise in moose medicine is to write down things that you can love about yourself and your progress in life. Then apply these things to friends, family, coworkers, and life. Don't forget to share the findings with others. They need the encouragement as much as you do. In the contrary, and this is the way we pulled it, if moose is upside down when you draw it, you are being reminded that ego can ruin your sense of accomplishment. Remember that others have the same potential you have. And do not become careless in your appreciation of their gifts. Reverse moose implies that in tooting your own horn, you have failed to be interested in others and have therefore forgotten that everyone teaches everyone else in some way. Contrary moose medicine may be asking you to grow quietly for a while, to calm your spirit, and allow the strength and wisdom of silence to enter your heart. This is the core of moose medicine, knowing the wisdom of silence so that when it is proper to speak, you can take pride in your words. I just read Willow's comment right here. She says, I cried during your show yesterday, Jen. Thank you so much for holding this space and facilitating this healing. Oh my gosh, you make me want to cry too. I just feel it, man, in this space. Like I feel that. Like I feel that energy where it's like where it's just like it needs that release, if you will. And the tears that I feel are that of gratitude and very much a connection with all of you. And my heart definitely felt like when I do this work, I don't want to sugarcoat it. I'm not telling you that it's going to be all pretty and rainbows and bubbles all the freaking time. But what I'm telling you is there's tools right at our fingertips and we just need to sharpen them. And we need to put more and more tools in our toolbox as we go along. So when it's necessary, we know exactly the right tool we need to get. So, Willow, I love you. I love you. I'm glad. I'm glad that this is helping and that, you know, that you were able to feel that, you know, and it's my pleasure, man. It's absolutely my pleasure. It's totally my pleasure. I love you guys so much. So, with the raven, this is where we're at now, guys. This is what we're looking at. The raven, black as pitch, mystical as the moon. Speak to me of magic. I will fly with you soon. It's magic, guys. We're creating magic here. Literally. And I explain this. Like when you start this process, magic is amazing in the sense that you're like, holy crap, it's real. But the more work you do, and if you're doing your journaling and you're looking at life, you'll start to realize that it's more than just magic. It's a mechanic. It's a mechanic that's operating these cellular structures and the geometry and being able to work with them and manipulate it and create your realities or destroy them to make more room for your beautiful creations. So I love that. Oh, yeah, I love you guys so much. Yeah, and it is. Yeah, I love you guys. And yes, the raven again. Throughout time, Raven has carried the medicine of magic. This has been true in many cultures across the planet. It is sacred in the medicine ways to honor Raven as the bringer of magic. If the magic is bad medicine, the carrier may be honored out of fear rather than out of respect. Those who fear Raven may do so because they have been dabbling in areas in which they had no knowledge, and a spell may have backfired on them. Rather than analyzing the dark side of sorcery, realize that you will fear Raven only if you need to learn about your inner fears of self-created demons. Self-created demons, guys. And that's it's very, very accurate. Yeah. Raven magic is a powerful medicine that can give you the courage to enter the darkness of the void, which is the home of all that is not yet in form. The void is called the Great Mystery. Great Mystery existed before all other things came into being. Great Spirit lives inside the void and emerged from the Great Mystery. Raven is the messenger of the void. If Raven appears in your spread, you are about to experience a change in consciousness. This may involve walking inside the Great Mystery on another path at the edge of time. It would portend a signal brought by the Raven that says, you have earned the right to see the experience a little more of life's magic. Raven's color is the color of void, the black hole in space that holds all energy of the creative source. In native teachings, the color black means many things, but it does not mean evil. Black can mean the seeking of answers, the void, or the road of the spiritual or non-physical. The blue-black of Raven contains an iridescence that speaks of the magic of darkness and a changeability of form and shape that brings an awakening in the process. Raven is the guardian of ceremonial magic and in absentia healing. In any healing circle, Raven is present. Raven guides the magic of healing and the change in consciousness that will bring about a new reality and dispel disease or illness. And I like how they broke it up because dis-ease, and it was in quotations. It's an ease. It's not like disease, but it's something that is not bringing you ease. Raven brings in the new state of wellness from the void of great mystery and the field of plenty. Raven is the messenger that carries all energy flows of ceremonial magic between the ceremony itself and the intended destination. For instance, if a ceremony is being performed to send energy to a disaster area where people need courage and strength, Raven would be the courier of that energy flow. The intention could be to allow the people of the devastated area to feel the concern and support of the participants in the ceremony. If you have chosen Raven magic in the air, do not try to figure it out. You cannot. It is the power of the unknown at work, and something special is about to happen. The deeper mystery, however, is how you will respond to the sparkling synchronicity of the alchemical moment. Will you recognize it and use it to further enhance your growth? Can you accept it as a gift from the Great Spirit? Or will you limit the power of the Great Mystery by explaining it away? It may be a time to call Raven as a courier to carry an intention, some healing energy, a thought, or a message. Raven is the patron of smoke signals or spirit messages represented by smoke. So if you want to send a message to the blue road of spirit in order to contact the ancients, call Raven. Or who knows, the ancients may be calling to you as we're healing our genetic lines. Remember, this magic moment came from the void of darkness, and the challenge is to bring it to light. In doing so, you will have honored the magician within. Yes, I love it. I love it. All right, we're going to come over to the Foxy Fox. So that is explaining where we're at right now. The other thing that I was thinking about when I read that and talking about like magic and kind of navigating that plane, and like the idea of tarot came to me, and really like with the tarot cards, every card is about us. Every single card is what's leading us to the answers. But the ultimate in the end is to become the fool, the zero point. And we talk about like raising ourselves up in the highest versions of ourselves. And I use this lingo, but it really is, it's zeroing that out. And And so with the tarot itself, it's not about the light and dark, because it's more of like that darker magic that some people will say. And yeah, it's very fascinating, the tarot. Very fascinating. Yeah, but the Fool, that's what kind of came to my mind. And the Raven, don't try and figure it out. But the Fox, where are you? Under the ferns? Becoming the forest so I can learn? Are you watching invisible to me, trying to teach me to become a tree? I love it. So again, the fox is camouflage. I feel like I'm just supposed to. So this card here is what is hindering us, and I pulled it in reverse. So we're going to read the reverse of the fox. Watch out for the wily fox. If this card has appeared reversal, someone may be watching you and trying to figure out your next move. If you look deeper, however, it may be that you are watching yourself to prove to yourself that you exist. If you have become a wallflower to the point of disappearing, you may need to decide that you are worth noticing. And that comes right back to that self-esteem, man, that you're worth noticing. Contrary fox is as foolish as it is cunning, and you may have fooled yourself into believing that your low self-esteem is due to your being born plain or having an ordinary life. This is camouflage of a different sort, in that you have camouflaged your true desire to experience life with friends, with joy, and with purpose. In any case, you are put on notice to be aware of apathy and self-induced boredom. You may have to dig deeply to find what excites you enough to scurry across the wasteland of your dullness. Let me try that again. You may have to dig deeply to find what excites you enough to scurry across the wasteland of your dulled senses and live. Contrary fox may also be telling you that you have become too visible. In climbing to a place of recognition, oftentimes the envy of jealousness of others is thrown in your face. If you are feeling attacked, withdraw. It may be time to assure the attitude of the hermit and deck yourself in the cloak of invisibility. To right contrary fox in this situation, call on Armadillo and name your boundaries. Then call on the family's protector to show you the art of camouflage. Once out of the line of attack, you can resume the role of being your foxy self. Become fox and feel the joy of knowing the playground of your life. You may just find the chicken coop full of intriguing morsels of delight. I love it. I love it. So good. So good. All right, guys. So the medicines that we're pulling in, again, we're going to do the moose of the self-esteem, the raven of magic, the fox of camouflage, and the beetle, which is bringing in the rebirth that is necessary in this process. Ooh, neat. I love it. I love the darkness, death. Black is my favorite color. Black is the best because it's all colors. Me too, Sasha. Yeah. Embracing the darkness is important. It is. And loving yourself in that darkest space. Yes, descending. I am always cloaked. LOL. Good luck. Yes, this is good stuff. It's always being cloaked. I don't know if you mean just by like holding your invisibility, but sometimes it's important to also be visible. I was kind of like the opposite, where it was like I was always so visible and I didn't know what it was like to be invisible. So yeah, it's fascinating. Where was this part? You guys made a lot of comments. Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. I don't see it now. It's all right. So, yeah, it's all right. I didn't need to find that comment. So anyway, it is that navigation and that balancing and learning how to camouflage yourself when it's time, and cloaking yourself. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that could mean, and protecting yourself is something that I definitely talk about. With my Merkaba in my own meditations. I put, things like mirrors on the outside of my Merkaba so that everyone that is meeting me is actually seeing themselves. And so I did have to learn that isn't always good. Sometimes people, will be seeing you in a state of judgment, and that's really them in the state of their own judgment. and they're not always like what would perceive as a positive light. But I realize that this healing process is, I'm just here to shine lights, man, and I'm here to love you. And when you are looking at me, that you are looking at yourself, and you're seeing that, and I'm trying to give it right back to you in my most loving way. Sometimes you have to cloak yourself in the darkness so no one can steal your light. You would be giving it away. Not like I get that, like, cloak yourself in the darkness so no one can steal your light, like perhaps like dulling the light so that they don't see it. But again, no one can steal that from you unless you're willing to let it go, and give it away and give your power away. It's a kind of like that victim. So it's breaking that mentality and making sure that you're holding the strongest amount of power that you have inside of you. I know people can steal things. I had, it's interesting, like, man, when you do this work, like, you got to come with warning labels. Like, literally, you got to come with warning labels. I had someone once steal my tobacco, and it's like, it wasn't about the tobacco. It's like, I just don't wish, like, literally, like, don't do that. Like, the universe is like divine. Like, I'm divinely protected. And the more you do this, the more you're divinely protected. And seriously, like, the ripple effects of doing actions towards people that are like this, it doesn't go so pretty for them. And I don't wish that upon them. Like, I want to just love and not have that. But like the woman that ended up stealing my tobacco, her cat died the next day. Like, it was just kind of like these aspects. Like, just you got to be like super careful out there. But yeah. Warning label, like, serious. There was other times like where, oh man, I just have so many stories that go through my mind. Yeah. So love yourself and protect yourself in many beautiful ways. And I get the cloaking. I do, like, sometimes you do need to walk into spaces that you are invisible so that they cannot see your light, and that is an aspect. Yes, I am always in the shadows. I got others in my circle to be the beacon of lights. That is interesting, Sasha. I got others in my circle to be the beacons of light. I mean, that's an interesting way to look at it, and mindset. That's really rad. And why is it that you choose to have others be the beacon of light and not you, is my question. And why always hide in the shadows? What is it that you don't want to be seen, to always cloak yourself? Like, I get the metaphor of the magician being the smartest man in the room, but I feel like there's aspects that they're both used as very good tool. So I would be interested to hear why you would have others do that and not you. That's very, very interesting. I like navigating these planes and hearing how people operate in life is really, really rad. Really, really rad. Yeah. So I love you guys. I'd like to have more information on that. But I would definitely like to be able to also get started with this beautiful meditation that we're going to get to do with each other today, and build up our self-esteems, take off masks. We're going into the sacral chakra today, and the sacral chakra is, where like that fear resonates. And so being able to break up that fear, if you will, and also like relationships with self, relationship with others, is right there in the sacral chakra. The sound of the sacral chakra is going to be the sound of ooh. So it's going to sound more like ooh. And as we do this, we're going to do as above, so below. So we're going to circle with the solar plexus into the sacral chakra and then root it out. A lot of me, it's like even my feet are tingling, and I'm excited to like have a 3-part that is going to like pull in the whole circling of the root with this as well. And so it's going to sound with the solar plexus is the sound of O, which is going to sound like O. So, and then again, the root chakra is the sound like So the circling of that will go oh, and then bringing it back up. Oh. And we'll circle that several times. So if you would like to join in when we do the sounds, those are the 3 sounds we're going to be using today. So let me grab a few things. There was stuff in my singing bowl and I just blew it and it just flew right back in my face. Oh yeah, that's so funny. It was like so much dust got inside the singing bowls. Like even Audie's hair was inside of one of them, my doggy's hair. It was not there yesterday, but it was there today. How fun. Okay, so if you can get yourself into a position where you're either seated or lying down, we're again going to stay with the same breath work, which is going to be breathing through our nose and out through our nose. And so as we begin, go ahead and just start with that kind of breathing and see how you're breathing today. Beautiful. And take your tongue and place it on the roof of your mouth and continue to breathe through your nose and out through your nose. And as we go along, if any time you redirect your energy back and your tongue is shifted, go ahead and just bring it back to the roof of your mouth. And now with your mind's eye, draw a triangle below your feet. And then connect the points of that triangle above your head. So you're sitting inside of a pyramid now. And then above your head, draw another triangle. And then connect the points of those triangles below your feet. So now your vessel is sitting inside of an upside down and a right side up triangle or pyramid, also known as the Merkaba. And continue to breathe. And inside this space, all of the positive energies are flowing freely in. When you breathe in the breath, breathe in all of the positivity, all that you can see. And exhale through your nose and out through your feet, the dense energy, the negative energies that might be stopping you up. And exhale it out through your feet, out through the red wiring systems, your root systems, and connect that to the earth. Breathe in the positive and slough off the dense negative energy. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And inside your space, I've placed a box. Can you see it? Walk over to this box and open it up. The lid of this box is very special today. It actually has a giant mirror. You're standing in front of it now. Can you see yourself in your reflection? Can you see it? See you? How are you seeing yourself? Are you happy with where you are? If you find not, take it off like a layer and place it inside the box. What is it you don't like? Put it in there. And then look back at yourself. Can you see it without? Now look at yourself closer. And inside this mirror, can you see yourself looking at your mother? What do you look like when you look at your mother? There's an identity there. Do you see that part of you? The entification of yourself? Go ahead and take this layer off too. This part, and place it in the box. You can come back and get it whenever you want, or you can leave it there. But now look at yourself, of just you. Does it look different? And now look at yourself again in a new way of how you look when you look at thinking about your father. What identities do you have there? What aspects of yourself do you have in that space that is only in relation to him? I love you. You're beautiful. But this layer gets taken off too. And place that inside of your box. And at any point, you can come back and put that back on. Maybe it's a version of you that you absolutely love and adore. But we're uncovering layers of you. And if you knew your grandparents, your grandmother, how did you feel looking at her? Can you see your face of what it's like to look at your grandmother? Was it filled with love? Was it filled with judgments? What is it that it brings up when you look? Acknowledge the beauty or the not, and take that layer off too. And now, for the grandfather. See yourself there. Did you have a relationship with your grandfather? Did you know them? If you did not know them, did you imagine having one when you were younger and what that looked like? The expectation of that space? See yourself. Experience that. And when you're ready, take that layer off too. And place that in the safety of the box. And how about your siblings? If you had a sister or a brother, take a moment and do the same. How do you look? How do you look to them? How do you show up in that space? Are you different than you are with Joe down the street? Are you different than you are with what it was with your mother or your father? How are you with your siblings? And take each one, take a moment and honor that space, whether positive or negative. And when you're ready, take that layer off too, like a cloak, like a mask, and place that inside the box. If you had relations with your aunts and uncles, let's start with the aunts. How do you show up with them? Maybe there was no relationship, or maybe there was. Did you act different? Did you feel that there was a way you needed to be? Were you your authentic you with your aunt? How do you look? Or the idea of an aunt if you didn't have one? Maybe an expectation, or what might have felt like a loss of not having. You did not. You had it exactly the way it was supposed to be. So take off those expectations and those layers and place it inside the box. And then move to the uncles and do the same. How is the relationship there? And when you're ready, take off that cloak, that mask, and set it inside the box. And take a moment and see yourself in this mirror. See what you look like of just you standing there. And now, with your friends, with those that you perceived in your reality that you had relations with, take off all of those layers, because we're just coming to be with you. Just you. Not how anybody else sees you, and almost not even how you are seeing you. We're coming to meet you today. And I love you. And you're awesome. We take this off piece by piece to find peace with ourselves. The energies and entities of those that were in our external reality, it is not their fault we are where we are right now. Whether it was for the good or for the bad, it was all you, all along. It was always you. In all of your beautiful, magnificent glory, it was you. And I love you. Take your masks off. You don't need it in this space. In fact, take off the masks of your body. If you're looking at yourself and you see yourself in your skin suit, take off your skin suit. Take off that meat suit and also place that inside the box. In the space of the Merkaba, in the void, you are a light body. You are a light being in this space. Can you see yourself as light? Can you see it? Do you see your shadow? Take those off too. And place them inside the box. It's just you now. Just an energy. Neither good nor bad, nor right nor wrong. Just you with your soul right now. And it's beautiful. And it's not heavy. It's light. And unbounded. And free. Breathe in through your nose. And out through your nose. And out through your nose. We're going to tune. If you feel you would like to join in, we are going to start with the solar plexus. Sacral chakra. And root. And back up. Now we're going to just do the sacral chakra. Moose, help me to honor the gifts I can give and recognize my worthiness long as I live. Above your head is a wiring system. It's of clear crystalline light. Grab onto it and plug it into your crown. And see the helixing wires of your DNA. And take this and connect it to the heart of the moose, tapping into the beautiful self-esteem and grandfather purity of energy coming in. Moose, help me to honor the gifts I can give and recognize my worthiness long as I live. Experience the stature of the moose. Its legs are so long, and its horns, its rack, looks like a palm. Can you hear the bellow of the moose? Breathe it in. Breathe it in through your crown. The energy of the moose. And into your third eye. And down your throat. And into your heart. Breathe it into your heart. It wants to let out a cry for your heart. It is here to show you about how worthy you are to be loved, because you are love. And that's why you're here in this space, in here now. Thank you, Moose, for being here to help us and guide us and show us what it is to have self-esteem with all of your power, when to be strong and mighty and bellow our might, and when to be silent, when to be balanced. And bring the moose down now with all of your might into the solar plexus to calm those anxieties. And it bellows here, awakening your senses and your self-esteem. And it bellows out the anxieties. You're beautiful. You are loved. And I am so proud of you. Feel the spirit of the grandfather, the masculine protector spirit wrapping you in its mighty, mighty arms. Who knew the elbows could bend that way? So beautiful. I love you. I love you. I love you. And bring it down. Allow it to clear your fears and bring the strength necessary to nurture all relationships abounding. Sammy, I see you here. Do you guys see her? She's in this space with us, immersed in the orange light. Ooh. We love you, Sammy. There's an orange rose that is being grown inside this space. Can you guys grow it? Grow it with me. Ooh. We build this rose with the intention of love and healing and strength and gratitude and so much self-esteem. Ooh. We love you, and we're so proud of you. You are a beacon of light as you navigate the shadows. Ooh. And now with the moose, let's bring him down to the earth, back down and share him back to the earth, to Mother Earth, who needs the healing too, and to all of us on this earth to help raise the consciousness and bring about the gift of self-esteem. Do you feel the tendrils of your wires and your root system bellowing this to the earth? Beautiful work. How are you breathing now? Can you get your breath all the way to your feet? All the way to your wires? Breathe it in through your nose. Breathe in the moose and all the energies that are now surrounding your auric field. And breathe it out straight into the earth and plug it in. You are beautiful, my friends. You are beautiful, and I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you, Moose. Thank you for helping us learn about self-esteem. And now we draw our attention to the raven up above. She's cawing her sweet magical message for all of us to receive. Raven black as pitch, mystical as the moon, speak to me of magic. I will fly with you soon. You see the raven flying up above. Take the crystalline wires and attach it again to the raven. Attach it and plug in all of the parts of your DNA with the magic of this raven, and breathe her in, breathe them in, breathe the magic in of the void of all matters of creation. Breathe it in through your crown and through your third eye. Oh, and there inside of the mind's eye, the magic begins, the magic of creation. Can you see it? Can you see it and feel it yet? And the healing has begun. And breathe it in more and down your throat. Breathe it in into the space so that the truth may be what sets you free. Oh, and breathe it down into your heart. And allow the raven's wings to wrap around your space, around your heart, cawing and cawing its green. Oh, your heart It knows no bounds. Boundless, unconditional love. And the raven has set its magic and its knowledge. Raven black as pitch, mystical as the moon, speak to me of the magic, and I will fly with you soon. And now take your flight. Can you fly with the raven? Can you see yourself with wings? And it's there, and it's there, and you are flying. And fly right back into your heart and fly down to the solar plexus and allow the magic and the balancing and the creation of the void and the balancing of the chemicals and the raising of the serotonin. I love you. I love you. Oh gosh, it feels so good to have the calm inside the belly. And now fly down into your sacral chakra, cawing the orange all into your auric field and out into the universe and into your space, creating all the geometry necessary to create the love for you. No more fear. Love and calm and rest and strength and magic. Yes, thank you for being here now. Thank you for being here now and giving us the power we need now. Not later, but now. Not before, but now. So that the past can meet the future, so the future can meet the past, and we create now together. Beautiful work, you guys. Beautiful work. Caw it out. Ooh. And then let's bring it down back to the earth and share in this healing, you guys. Share in the magic. Beautiful. How is your breath now? Breathe it in. Breathe it in, my sweet friends. Oh, yes. Oh, and there he is. Do you see the fox that has been waiting? The fox that has been there to come and deliver the messages for us, to help guide us in what could be hindering us in our future, that will prevent us from having this self-esteem and love right now, or the futures that we truly desire. Oh, fox, where are you? Under the ferns, becoming the forest, so I can learn? Are you watching, invisible to me, trying to teach me to become a tree? Thank you, fox, for coming in. Attach your wire systems, your DNA to the fox. Oh, the fox is quite the fun little trickster. He also loves to play. And as we talked about, the fool, the cosmic joke that comes in to allow us to play. I love you, fox. Thank you. Thank you for teaching me the camouflage and how to play and how to be and how to learn from you and the tree. Breathe in the fox. Breathe it in through your crown and through your third eye and in through your nose. And bring it down through your throat. Bringing in the power of the camouflage, when to speak and when not to speak. And when you can see what is afoot, whether it is you or whether it is me. And allow it to come into your heart. And thank you for coming to this medicine place. Thank you for coming. And breathe it in and down through your solar plexus and into your belly to quench your fears, to quench the anxieties. It is here to help bring you the strength and the sight to allow the journey to be easier when it might be perceived harder to see. And allow and breathe in the beautiful orange colors of the fox. Do you see? It is here to play and bring into the solar plexus or into the sacral chakra, I mean. It is coming down into that space. Nothing to fear, just awareness. Bring awareness, my friends. Keep your eyes open and recognize the messages and the prayers so that you can receive. Oh, beautiful work, guys. You are beautiful and you are kind and you are loving and you are smart and you have joy and laughter and care that is igniting inside of you right now. I love you and I can see it. I can see it growing. Can you? I feel it. With your next exhalation, exhalate this joy and beauty out into your external reality and grow it out as far as you can into the universe, and then breathe it back in. Breathe it deep into your vessel and deep in, and exhalate it through your roots. Ground it to your earth and ground it to your space of where you are. You are beautiful and strong and powerful, and every one of those things is you. You are unified in this space. Unification, unification, unification. And now comes flying in the beetle, you guys. The rebirth has begun. Breathe it in and connect your wires to the heart of the beetle. Breathe it in through your crown and breathe it in through your third eye and your nose, and breathe it in through your throat and breathe it in through your heart. Breathe it in through your solar plexus and into your sacral chakra and out into the earth. Allow the rebirth to transform you in this space and bring about the healing that is you, reprogramming and recoding every cell to be anew with love, self-esteem, joy, affirmations, gratitude, inner standing. I love you. I love you. And in this space with all your new creators and fellow friends, I will play you a song. And in this space, listen to what they have to say. Honor their spirits as they honor you. They came here to help because they love you too. Beautiful work, you guys. What did you learn? And what did you see? And what did you feel? Can you come back to me? I love you. And inside this space, you are safe. And you are love. And an abundance of self-esteem is always here whenever you need it. Any of the self-confidence and joys are right here. Close your eyes at any point and come back to now. There is no separation between time and space. Create, create, create. I love you. Walk now back over to that box. Do you see it? Still there. Walk over and open it up and look back in the mirror and see what you see now. What are you seeing? Maybe your face has that of a bit of the fox, a bit of the camouflage that's needed. Or maybe now you have the beetle. Maybe you have wings that are colored like the metallic green of the scarab beetle. What do you see in the mirror now? You can be anything you want to be. Oh, and the moose. Can you see yourself with the antlers of a moose? Isn't it fun? You can be whatever you want to be, but please choose love. Choose you. Choose now. I love you. You are doing the best you can, and every day you're getting better. Look at yourself in all of your glory. It's not this meat suit, and it's not anybody but you. And you are a magnificent genius of spirit, and yet just a drop of water in the ocean. You are all things and no things, and isn't it fun? Isn't it fun? It's all a perspective. And hear the sounds of creation. And today we chose the sound of ooh. Ooh. So beautiful, you guys. If you want to grab out any of the things and parts of you that you want to take back into this world, the way you love on your mother or father, or any aspects that you'd like to continue to carry, go ahead and place them back on. I just wanted you to have a moment without any of the weight, to weigh as light as a feather, where there is no space. I love you, and I care about you. Come back to you. Come back to you. And breathe. And take your right hand and place it over your heart, and your left hand over that. You are love, my love. And I love you. And I see you. And I care about you. You are kind and caring and compassionate and graceful and intelligent and joyful. I love you. Now take your arms and wrap them around your vessel in a warm embrace of a hug. I am hugging you now, right there with you. I love you, I love you, I love you. You're a badass and you're awesome, you're awesome. Thank you for being on this journey with me. I am grateful for you. Thank you. Slowly come back to yourself. Slowly come back. What do you see now? What do you feel now? Are you more rested? The rose is a powerful medicine, you guys. When navigating the shadows, you build the petals. It's more fun to take your mind and say, you know what? I understand that there is a dark side to this. But in this space, this outline of this rose petal is me being in all of my magnificent glory. This is me here in this space expressing myself, loving myself, showing care for myself. In fact, I'm making a different kind of petal on this, and it looks weird now. Look at this weird petal of the rose. Maybe it looks psychedelic. Maybe there's sacred geometry placed inside of it. But create that rose. This is where that healing space is too. And it is inside of you. I love you. And I'm grateful that you guys are here. This was, I'm shocked as I look at the time. It's amazing how fast time flies with you guys. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I just sit here. I love this space, and thank you for being here with me, really, and going on this journey. It's very powerful when we ignite ourselves. And I'm here if you need anything. I hope to see you back in here again tomorrow and later for Zach and Aaron's show for even more healing. I also would ask that you like and share this video and subscribe to the channel so that we can grow even farther in this healing journey and have more people find a safe space to come and heal. And yeah, man, I love you and I'm grateful. I also would like to, give thanks to the Shipibo tribe. If you're at any position to give, even 50 cents pays for a half a week for an entire family. Money goes very different. Our energy resources go very different there, and they are in need of our help. So as I say, there's 100 families that I'm feeding currently. It's $450 a month, pays for the entire village. $4.50 pays for an entire family for a month. So again, there's links down below. 100% of the proceeds goes to them. Yeah, I love you guys. I hope you're feeling awesome. Again, if you feel at any point that you need to evoke any of these spirits that you have brought in, they're just energies. They do not have, you are our all-powerful being. So just a simple evocation is just I evoke you, and state the creature with your mind or aloud, and they will go. But know that they are here to guide us and help us on this journey, and they have an agenda that has been brought in. So making sure that you're following that path and that agenda. And it was very, very cool medicine that came to us today. I think it's so balanced when it comes to like the fox and then the raven and even the beetle and the moose, man. So true. And I want to thank Robert again for putting together these amazing meditations, like the 2 videos you have done mean the world. It's just really, really freaking rad. To take someone's creation to then create more atop it is a really, really cool and honorable skill. And I honor you, Robert, and thank you. Much love and gratitude. Sammy, thank you. Feeling lighter, thank you very much. Good. See, this is how it works. And so good for all of us to come together. And I love all of you guys. And thank you. And I will look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Now I need to run and eat food and get ready for the next show. But I love you. And I will... whoops. I always get the camera off. Maybe one day I'll get it down. And I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And you guys have a beyond outstanding day. Thank you for being here with me. I love you.